to Comic Island. My name is Arden, and today we're talking about Guy Gardner becoming a Darkstar. So if you haven't been keeping up with Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, this series has some interesting stuff going on with it. First, it has been announced that Ethan Van Sciver is leaving the series as one of the main artists for it, and people like Clayton Henry seem to be taking over. While his artwork will be missed, his online persona really won't be, so I really can't complain, especially because Henry's artwork so far has been pretty awesome. But what's really going on that's been a little more interesting in terms of plot stuff is the Darkstars. And they're really starting to build up as a major threat to the Green Lanterns. The Darkstars were beings created by an alien race called the Controllers, powerful telepaths who wanted to have a rival police force against the Guardians and their Green Lanterns. They're back now, revamped in a lot of ways. Their powers and appearance have been slightly altered, with their strength also greatly improving in typical comic book fashion. But what's more interesting is the biggest twist introduced with their first issue they reappeared in, where the Darkstars actually killed the Controllers and therefore basically work independently of any sort of oversight. That's good because the Controllers basically wanted to control the entire universe, but the Darkstars themselves have adopted a philosophy of absolute justice, where they basically just murder anyone who commits crimes and is a threat to the people of the universe. With the Green Lanterns not exactly popular in the universe, they start to become this really popular alternative to the Lanterns, and quickly start gaining numbers and traction that the Lanterns simply don't have. As they've become more and more of a threat, the Green Lanterns have started to seek out allies, namely in old enemies they used to have and have met throughout this series, including General Zod and his own little new Krypton planet that he's running, along with characters who are at least somewhat friendly to the Lanterns, such as Arkillo or Orion of the New Gods. As they seek out these new allies, a number of the Green Lanterns have also defected into the Darkstar ranks, because after all there are many who kind of agree with their philosophy. It's an old issue that's come up in superhero comics before, whether or not villains and murderers deserve to be killed, considering they seem to escape over and over again, ultimately murdering more people. The Darkstars really bring that issue to the front through Tomar Ray, son of Tomar II, a longtime friend and former ally of Hal Jordan before he was killed by a villain. His son begins this story locked up because he had killed a murderer in cold blood as a Green Lantern, and he remains unapologetic of this and is quickly recruited into Darkstar ranks as the first Darkstar. He basically leads them. Though they have free will, they are all in agreement about their willingness to kill villains. They start raiding prisons and killing every prisoner there. And the newest recruit among them, apparently, is now Guy Gardner. The most recent issue has him basically become possessed by one of these things, and seems to agree with their philosophy. Guy seeks out his own father and prepares to kill him, only stopped by Arkillo, who says, thanks to their long-standing friendship and strange little partnership that they've built over this series, that he won't let Guy kill his father. And that's where the issue ends and where we're at now, with the Green Lanterns trying to build some sort of army of villains and their own ranks to stand up to this new threat, because the Green Lanterns are right, and killing people indiscriminately, especially when they've surrendered or are actively in prison, isn't okay, and it jives against the moral structure that most of the Lanterns stand for, and for good reason. But then we get the really interesting twist about all of this, and a very interesting idea is floated in the latest issue. Basically, at the end of the event DC Metal, all the members of Justice League used an element called Element X. It's said to be the stuff of imagination that basically just brings whatever you will into existence. With it, they were able to defeat the Dark Knights, but it also appears to have left a lot of changes across the universe. The biggest change being the hole in the source wall. But here, the idea is presented that some of the inner desires of Hal Jordan himself, when he was wielding this armor, created the new version of the Darkstars. That's an awesome idea and the sort of brilliant crossover narrative stuff that really works in something like DC Rebirth. It gets into the cleverness of Scott Snyder's writing, as well as Venditti in this series. It's something that he's actually really good at, tying in other elements of DC canon into his own story, and doing so in a fun way that really adds to the overall narrative of the Green Lanterns. So whatever's shaping up next seems to be pretty interesting on the whole, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future of this series. I do recommend you check out some of the recent Darkstar comics coming out of Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns. because they're a lot of fun and nicely stand on their own, as long as you're at least relatively familiar with some of the concepts going on within Green Lantern lore at the moment. With the new art team doing some great work and some solid writing with a huge variety of characters ranging from Hector Hammond to General Zod and his family, and even the Eradicator, on the whole I've really enjoyed these comics and how they've dealt with the Darkstar threat. It's a really interesting series and definitely seems worth your time if you ask me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and thanks for watching. If you like our channel, I recommend you check out our Patreon page in the video description below. You can have a say in the videos we make. Finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep reading comics.